their kids through the same education hellhole they went through. An 8-hour entrance exam? Real question.
See, I just couldn't do it. Couldn't do 8-hour entrance exam. 8 hours. You'll be lucky if I could take a test in high school that was 2 hours. 8? Half my fucking day?
Where you at, Berto?
Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reacting to South Korea is broken.
South Korean politicians are all morons! They will do literally—
Oh my god, I did not need that jump scare, bruh. Fuck!
Everything to try and fix their birth rate problem rather than getting to the main cause. The literally everything includes a politician promoting Kegel exercises or suggesting girls start school a year earlier than boys to make them more appealing. What? What the fuck are you talking about?
Cause I heard that it was a kid diddler. Yeah, I heard that it was a pedophile.
If you ever watched any of Bong Joon-ho's movies, you would know that the main message of all of his amazing movies is South Korea is a fucked up place. This country is literally ran by Samsung, LG, and Hyundai Kia. They have a horrible work and school culture, but by far the most important quote-unquote challenge they face is the horribly low birth rate they have. It is the worst in the world, and it's recently plummeted down to 0.72 births per woman. A country needs a birth rate of 2.1 to keep their current population, let alone grow it. And they're at 0.72. So why do the South Korean women not want to make babies with these handsome, rich, cute little twinks? They fuck with the other guy. They ask me to give up my seed. South Korea is miles ahead in misogyny technology than every other country in the world. Among Korean men, there is a widespread perception that designated seats for pregnant women are an excessively female-friendly policy, to the point where it became a trend on the internet to protest this policy by posting photos of dudes sitting in these seats as a form of protest. Imagine you're a woman in South Korea, right? You already have these unbelievable, unrealistic beauty standards where to be considered pretty, you have to be basically a supermodel. South Korea has the most plastic surgeries per capita in the world, with over 1 million
Oh my god. This is crazy.
operations happening every year, and with every one
And why are they just being promoted on the side of the street like this?
for women aged 19 to 29 already having plastic surgery done, with men being 2%.
Sad.
On top of this, these motherfuckers decide to give you the largest wage gap on the planet for your hard work, and they only decriminalized abortion in 2021, 3 years ago. It's not legal now, but it's not illegal either. Me personally, if I was a woman, I would be crashing out and tweaking. Man,
Yeah, I'd be getting the hell up out of there. I don't know what the legality and how easy or hard it is to do that, but yeah.
fuck men in
And I think, you know, again, I've said this before in another reaction pertaining to like other areas in the world, but it's like, I know the US has its problems. I know the United States is definitely not this perfect place, but when you hear shit like this, it's like, okay, I get it, you know?
particular, but not literally, which is how the 4B movement spawned, which means no dating, marriage, childbirth, or sex with dudes. And when your country's laws about women are written by John Jones and Harvey Weinstein, with intense misogyny, discriminatory laws, and the highest wage gap in the world, it is no surprise this movement spawned in South Korea. You know what does not help either? South Korea being the most expensive place in the world to raise a child, costing around $270,000 to
No fucking way. What?
raise a child until the age of 18. In second place is the glorious People's Republic of China. Taiwan, South Korea, your destiny is to be obliterated into nothing by a Chinese Dongfeng missile. South Korea has this phenomenon called academic elitism, where basically if you don't go to the best universities they have to offer, your life is basically over. You're gonna get a shitty job, no money, you will be sucking dick behind the KFC on Daihakro Street for money. And then there are the Sky Universities, Seoul, Korea, and Yonsei Universities. Whether or not you get into one of these three universities decides your financial and social position in the country for the rest of your life. It's like parkour civilization. So there's a huge pressure on the Korean youth to get into one of these.
Oh my god, just looking at this piece of paper right here makes my fucking brain hurt. I will never and have never been able to solve any equation that looks like this motherfucker right here. Not a chance. You got me fucked up.
Which is why private tutoring has a whole term for it called
Hey, yo.
hagwons, and why it's a $20 billion industry. Because every parent, no matter their financial capability, wants their child to succeed. And since Korean society is set up in a way where you need to go into the sky schools, Korean households spend more on private tutoring than housing and food. Because of these
Oh my god.
exorbitant prices, households can barely afford one kid, let alone more, and they also probably don't want to put their kids through the same education hellhole they went through. An 8-hour entrance exam? Real question.
See, I just couldn't do it. Couldn't do 8-hour entrance exam. 8 hours. Nigga, you'll be lucky if I could take a test in high school that was 2 hours. 8? Half my fucking day? Oh yeah, bro. What he say a nigga gonna be doing in the back if they don't get into school? Hey yo, pause. Let me chill. But real shit, I would not be getting into this school at all.
48 hours with Diddy or 8-hour entrance exam that decides the rest of your life. Discuss in the
my
comments
God.
below. The Korean entrance exam, CSAT, aka Cox.
Whoa. 48 hours with Diddy or 8 hours. I'm gonna take my chances with Diddy, bro. And hear me out before y'all cook me, man. I ain't on no weird shit. I just feel like I could actually, fight. You know what I'm saying? I could, fight for my life. But just sit there. All right, let me chill. The obvious easy answer is sit down for 8 hours. All right, I take that back. Don't clip that. I take that back. I'll sit down for 8 hours rather. There's no point. It's less pain, less. Yeah. I'll just sit down for 8 hours. I'm sorry. That was a terrible answer.
Skibidi ass torture literally has killer questions that are bullshit questions.
What the hell?
Just to make the student scores lower. A lot of times these questions aren't included in normal schools either, but are only included in these private tutoring schools. So already, if your kid is not in those expensive private cram schools, he's set back by this capitalist shithole called South Korea. And these killer questions are either some insane diluted algebra questions that have not been solved by any mathematician ever, or some obscure literary takeouts. What did Tyla respond to Kai Cenat when Kai asked her out on a date? Oh my god, bro. They only decided to remove these questions last year, so good job on that, but Koreans still spend nearly $20 billion a year on these private tutoring schools. Usually what happens in a normal Korean teen's day is they go to school from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m, already 8 hours of classes, and then goes to the private cram school, which usually goes from 6 to 9, already 11 hours of classes, and then the rest of the day is spent studying at home before falling asleep and lacking on sleep. A lot of people estimate that they spend 12 to 17 hours a day just studying.
Not a fucking chance, bro. Not a fucking chance.
Why are the fertility rates low? Bro, if you told me I had to study 15 hours a day, the last thing on my mind would be making kids. I wouldn't make kids out of spite of what this world has to offer. Because why would I want to let my kids go through this hellhole called studying in South Korea? A big part of their demographic crisis is that they are extremely urbanized, and as all problems, it always comes down to fucking real estate. Over half of South Korea lives in the Seoul metropolitan area, because that's where all the Sky universities are. So everyone who wants to live well has to live in Seoul. And also because there are a bunch of construction restrictions that don't allow for a lot of housing to be built. So the limited housing in Seoul is basically a bidding war between Samsung higher-ups, normal South Koreans, and the guy from Squid Game. And the bidding war usually ends in the Samsung higher-ups buying these apartments, renting it to normal South Koreans for huge sums of money, and the guy from Squid Game sucking dick behind the Shake Shack in Yong District for 2,500 won so he can keep chain smoking his SA lights. In 1928, Stalin started the first 5-year plan, and the goal was to move these stupid, dumb, illiterate peasant farmers out from the farms and get them into cities where there was big industry and make them make tractors and a bunch of other cool shit. By moving illiterate peasants out from these big farms and cramming them into apartments, the Soviet Union's birth rate crashed. In peasant farmer societies, children are usually encouraged because they're more of a free labor and not as much of a financial burden. However, in cities, raising children is expensive and you also don't get a large family to help with farming. You're all alone in that Samsung factory, resulting in this, where you can clearly see that the fertility rates in big cities are much lower than their less urbanized areas. In Vienna's airport, they made the benches purposefully uncomfortable to keep people from sleeping on it. A real dedicated sleeper like me will never succumb to the capitalist invention of anti-homeless infrastructure. And even though these metal roads were hitting me straight in my hips, I had an amazing 8-hour-long sleep in this airport. Governments will spend hundreds of thousands of dollars building anti-homeless infrastructure just for me to sleep on it, when the only anti-homeless infrastructure that works is giving the homeless homes. And yeah, South Korea is cooked on all fronts. Not only everything I mentioned, but also their views are literally the complete opposite of women. It's like the South Korean male population thinks women are their enemy, because what even is this divide? It's literally just two opposite extremes, and the chances of them getting along to the point where they would want to have children is slim to none. Because of this toxic work, education, and dating culture, South Korea has the highest self-end rate in a first world country. Recently, I went out for a walk in Tbilisi with Geopol, discussing important
Where is this nigga from? I can hear his accent.
topics such as Diddy and Skibbity Toilet. And when I came back to my apartment, my Lenovo monitor had broken itself. Hong Kong had disappointed me. The warranty people told me it would take 3 weeks to order me a new one, and I would genuinely rather be waterboarded than not have access to my computer for 3 weeks. So I went ahead and got a new Samsung monitor. With this, I contributed to the mafia, not so secretly running the country of South Korea. In 2017, the son of the chairman of Samsung literally bribed the president for a corporation favor that would benefit Samsung, and then got exposed for it. The president got overthrown and Lee got sentenced to 5 years in prison. Then they reduced it to 2.5 years and released him after serving only 1 year in prison. Then for some reason, he had a retrial about this, got sentenced back to prison for 2 years and 6 months. And then when there was a global chip shortage in the world, Joe Biden went to South Korea because America needed more chips, and the new president of South Korea pardoned the chairman of Samsung, and now he leads Samsung. I'm really liking this
Really? What the fuck?
monitor though. Like, look, I can rotate it and watch Instagram reels like this. I don't know what it would take for the South Korean government to realize that their ultra-capitalist society is the cause for all their difficulties, such as being an incel, pulling 2014 ISIS numbers, and the real estate market being horrible. Also, the three big companies, but mainly Samsung, have so much power over there that every politician is there to serve Samsung's interests and not the South Korean people. You guys already saw how Samsung literally bribed the president with $37 million, and that is only one of the things they have been exposed for. Just imagine how many secret deals have been taking place with Samsung's leaders and Korean politicians. I do not care how much money you have. If you're going to be alone for the rest of your life and also hold some extreme beliefs about the opposite sex, and also never be able to own a home for yourself, no matter how much money you have either way, because Samsung exists, what's the point? And government-funded matchmaking events to try and get people to talk to each other is not going to fix the fact that even if they really liked each other, they wouldn't be able to afford the home, because Samsung keeps buying up all the property to the point where they have their own little town dedicated to themselves. But a bunch of corporations have their own office towns. This isn't my big beef with them. I hope my Samsung monitor does not shut itself off using their Samsung AI to detect the words I'm writing and fucking explode my monitor. This is genuinely a cyberpunk dystopia if I've ever heard one, where one company controls everything and bribes the president. These huge country controlling family owned companies are the cause of nearly all of South Korea's problems, but they enable you to watch Instagram reels on a full 4K screen in portrait mode. Basically, if you're South Korean, you only have 3 options: Samsung worker, professional League of Legends player, or a K-pop idol. And when you become a K-pop idol, you are basically signing your human rights away to become a slave for a management company, where you live in dorms with your group members that are about to debut and literally starve yourself as a diet, usually eating about 1,000 calories a day.
Oh my god.
These women are stronger than most men in the galactic empire. I mean, American military. Because they eat basically nothing all day and train these dances for 8 to 10 hours a day. Aren't allowed to leave without permission and are not allowed to date anyone. And after 2 to 4 years of training, they might not even debut because their management company will refuse it. So, put some fucking respect on K-pop's name. You might not like the music.
That's kind of crazy, bro. That is very insane.
Music, but
They're literally like printing superstars, and some of them won't even make it out because they're still not good enough.
the work these people put in and the literal slavery they had to go through to get to where they are is just respectable. Game recognizes game. If I was a slave for 4 years and then random American teenagers made fun of me because I look gay and have plastic surgery, I would tweak out. I would defect to North Korea and send one of their Hwasong 19 missiles to that kid's house. Bye bye, Russia! What do you think nearly all
my
the
God.
cinema that comes out of South Korea is about hating rich, big, corrupt companies such as Parasite and Squid Game? This is their reality that they're living through. Side note, on top of this, they require me a visa to go there? Ah, hell nah! You know who doesn't require a visa for me? The European Union and China. I know who I'm choosing. Like and subscribe and goodbye.
That was a very interesting video. Very interesting video, man. You know, again, like I said, I know the United States isn't a perfect place, but when you hear things like this, it kind of puts in perspective, like, gotta be grateful, man. Gotta be grateful. But, you know, I do think there's pros and cons of living anywhere in the world. You know, I follow enough conspiracy theories like on Instagram and stuff to know, you know, maybe it is time to pack up my bags and go live in a different country. I don't know, man. I'm not a very political person, so I don't really pay attention to a lot of what's going on. And as I get older, I want to be very knowledgeable about my surroundings and what's going on in my country and what's going on in other countries, so I truly know how to move around in the right way. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I feel bad for my South Korean people though, man. I don't know, man. Shit is crazy. And like I said, it's like, I know if I was in that situation, all I could be thinking is, well, how do I leave? How do I go become a citizen of somewhere else? But it's like, maybe it's not that easy, you know? So I don't know. I'm not going to pass too much judgment on something I know nothing about. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. My name's Berto. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Where you at, Berto?